from Oakland, senior NBA writer from ESPN's The Undefeated. Always appreciate our conversations with Marc Spears back here on the show. How are you, Marc?
Having an interesting couple hours, man.
I bet you did. So, is Boogie done for the year?
Yeah, well, I don't know about for the year, for the season. Really tough news, torn quad. It's waiting for the extent of the injury, and certainly has to be really, really down. Just his second playoff game, and he's out. And, if the Warriors win, he still gets a ring, but he isn't a part of the entire journey. So I know he's crushed. Tony Parker had this injury recently, so I wouldn't be surprised if those two end up having a conversation and Tony ended up coming back. But to go from having, the injury that Cousins had and then to having this, Achilles and a torn quad, this is really devastating. It's going to be really painful. Man, after seeing what he went through close to the hand and been working on a big E60 feature on him for 2 years now. Hey, man, after he conquers this, he certainly has a very motivational story.
To say the least. And just to hear again that he's been, no doubt, just like the rest of the Warriors, that this is the moment for him right now. Forget about obviously the last couple of months. It was all to get ready for this moment, and for this moment to arrive and have it go like this. I can't. There's no words for it, Marc.
Yeah, hopefully, these box of chocolate Warriors can find motivation from this, knowing how important just getting in the playoffs was to him, let alone trying to win a championship. So hopefully, for the Warriors' sake, they could get sparked from it. But his loss is a huge loss. Assuming the Warriors figure out a way to get past these Clippers, Cousins was a problem for Houston. He had a great series against Houston. He's a problem for a lot of teams. He's a problem for a lot of star centers. So to lose him, hey, no one's going to feel sorry for a team that has 4 or 5 guys that have been all-stars, but this is a devastating loss for the Warriors.
Well, before you get to your other piece that you wrote this week for The Undefeated on Kevin Durant, what in the world happened last night, Marc? What happened in front of you with the Clippers come back from 31 down?
Well, Doc gave a very unflattering comment, if that makes sense, about these Clippers, man. He called them the roaches. So they just don't die, man. You can hit them. You can swat them, you can step on them, and they find a way to survive. A lot of people probably don't know the Clippers story. There's been like 3 games in which they have overcame deficits of 20-plus in the regular season, 2 of which were over 25, where 25 or over. So, the Warriors got to know you can't just rest. You can't just count them out or think that they're going to give up. This is like, a junkyard dog mentality that they have. Nobody believes in them. Nobody thinks they could win. There's no all-stars. There's no superstars, although we should probably start considering Lou Williams a superstar. But they just keep fighting, and that's just been their mentality. And to come back from that, it has to be very, very embarrassing for the Warriors, and probably was so embarrassing that it kind of overshadowed for the moment what happened with Cousins. It was a very quiet locker room. A couple guys didn't speak. And in this playoffs, you can't play games like that because, as you saw, injuries can happen, and they basically also just lost about 3 potential days of rest had they had swept the Clippers.
Marc Spears from The Undefeated right here on the Rich Eisen Show. And when you mention the Clippers as roaches, it's not just coming back from deficits within games. It's also Tobias Harris getting traded away and everybody thinking that that's the end. We had Doc on the show about 10 days ago, and he admitted that it was a tough sell within the locker room to say, let's just keep going while Harris goes to the Sixers. So everything that we're seeing here from these comebacks throughout the season, last night, Tobias Harris going, team is still in the playoffs right now. Does this position the Clippers any better? What happened last night for July 1st, do you think, Mark?
I mean, Warriors win the next 3 games, we'll probably forget about it. I mean, I think it has a 15 minutes of fame. It's a good story if they win on Thursday or win on Sunday, and which is, it's not out of the realm of possibility. They could. But with their salary situation, it ain't those guys, with all due respect, that they're looking towards to lead their future into trying to compete for a title. It's a guy like Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard or Kyrie Irving that they're really looking at. So I don't know if this impresses a free agent other to say that, the Clippers as an organization are going in the right direction, have a solid foundation, has an owner that cares and will spend money. As somebody told me before, Blake Griffin and Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan got all the masseuses and all the nice stuff. Now everybody gets everything. So there's a lot more money being spent in the Ballmer regime than the previous regime, and a lot more to be excited about with Clippers basketball than in the past.
Marc Spears in the Honda Insider Report. Let's get to your piece in the few minutes we have left with each other here on the Undefeated, entitled Kevin Durant, Yo, Just Watch the Game. You spoke to Durant. Do you think he has made a decision on July 1? Right now he's playing basketball knowing he's going to a certain team, if not the Knicks, Mark?
No, and we talked in detail about it, and I think he believes that it would kind of be idiotic to have one right now. There's just so many things that could happen. Like, look what happened to the Lakers in draft lotteries coming up on May 14th. Let's see who gets Zion. Let's see how the Warriors finish. I mean, if the Warriors were to three-peat, I can envision Steph being in a room looking at Durant saying, come on, man, you don't want to try to four-peat? You don't want to try to four-peat in a new arena? Like, just give me another year, man. Let's just go year to year. I could see that conversation taking place. Walking away from a potential four-peat would probably be a very, very difficult thing to do. I had heard from somebody close to him that he hadn't made a decision, and then just asked him directly, and he's like, no. He's like, that wouldn't be a good business move at the moment, wouldn't be good for my teammates, wouldn't be fair to my teammates, and I think you got to just let the dust settle two months from now, which is why he was saying, hey, just let's watch me play. And obviously Patrick Beverley's making it tough for him right now, but this is perhaps the best player in the game. As after all these sad years that the Warriors fans have been through, I still think they shouldn't get too big for their britches and not appreciate the game, the journey. They're trying to get a third championship, and they need to smell the coffee a little bit and stop worrying about what's going to happen in July 1.
Well, I mean, in that regards too, Mark, I mean, Durant, as you know, is very savvy. He's smart. And so many people say that for his legacy, he's got to go somewhere and do something himself. To me, he looks around, even if the Warriors do lose and there is a new stadium, a new arena, and if, I guess, he looks around at how can he leave this situation knowing that this is his best chance to win, unless there's something going on behind the scenes that some other roster move needs to be made that he doesn't want to play with anybody anymore. And, I guess where I'm going to with Draymond and what happened earlier on in the season is that walk me through what the landmines here are of Durant to stay put in Golden State.
Oh, I think him and Draymond have been fine.
Okay.
I don't think that pushes them out the door. Guys get in arguments. It happens. I'm sure you haven't loved all your coworkers all the years either, right? What about the producer in there, man? What about your producer right now?
I'm staring a hole right through him right now, Mark. Oh yeah,
exactly.
I know what you're saying.
I mean, it happens. So I think that's a thing of the past. It'll be hard to walk away. I mean, they've been winning. The grass is pretty green on this side.
Right.
There's a new arena, and there's more, like the same kind of money that's courtside at Madison Square Garden and at Staples is certainly going to be at Chase when it's just down the street from Silicon Valley and in San Francisco. The most expensive place to live in the country is killing me right now. So, I mean, from a Silicon Valley standpoint, from a financial standpoint, I mean, he's been able to make some good coin off the court, and I think that will even get to a higher level next year. So New York won't go away, and that's why I think that's one of those really, really tough decisions where I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to the Hamptons, hunkered down with Rich Kleiman and his father and some other close friends, and kind of look at it. I don't think it's a simple decision. I mean, New York, yeah, playing in the Garden's cool, and perhaps Kyrie could come with them, but they haven't won since '73, and that's a different kind of pressure. L.A., whether it's the Clippers or Lakers, it's a big challenge where you go, regardless to where you go. So, but he has a good problem. He has people that want him and want to open up the vaults for him. So I'm sure I really believe him when he said that he hasn't made a decision and he's taking his time.
Okay, Marc, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it. Let's chat throughout the NBA playoffs. I always appreciate your information and your conversation. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take care now.
You got it. That's Marc Spears.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.